In the Creed we say that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son. You know, it's easy to make a wrong picture of God the Father, an old man with a long beard sitting on a throne, or a venerable designer planning out creation with a pair of dividers. These are wrong pictures, but they can still give us an idea that means something. If we believe we are made in God's image, then we can be excused for depicting God the Father in our image. And it's also easy to make a wrong picture of God the Son. But the wrong picture may not be a bad place to start with. The relationship of Father and Son, that carries a lot of baggage, a lot of associations, a lot of implications with it. In the Creed, we remove much of that baggage by saying that Jesus is God from God, light from light, true God from true God, and so on. But it's impossible to make a wrong picture of God the Holy Spirit, because it's impossible to make any picture of the Spirit at all. The dove and the tongues of fire are only images of the Spirit's action. The Spirit is Lord, which is to say, the Spirit is truly God, just as the Son is truly God. He is not simply an attribute or an emanation of God. The Spirit is life-giver. And this too says that the Spirit is God, because if you look deeply into what creation means, it means the giving of life. The giving of life is a necessary part of the notion of Creator. The Spirit proceeds, or comes out from, the members of the Trinity whom we already know, the Father and the Son. Now, whether there's any real difference between the Spirit proceeding from God the Father and the Son being born of God, well, I just don't know. The Eastern Orthodox Church, however, does not accept that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son. They say the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father alone. My reason for liking the phrase "and from the Son" is that it fits in with the being, act, life logic of the Trinity that I spoke of in previous talks. Life must come from the act as well as from the idea. Think about it. An idea cannot have life if it remains just an abstract concept. It can only have life if it is first given reality, that is, if the Son is involved as well as the Father. Having said all of that about the nature of the Holy Spirit, we turn to practical matters. What do we do about the Spirit, and what does the Spirit do about us? What we do about the Spirit is we adore Him or worship Him. We also glorify Him. That is, we acclaim His glory alongside the Father and the Son. Now, the word adore comes from the Latin ad orare, means to pray to. And with that comes all the implications of respect, of reverence, and recognition of authority. Outside the church, the meaning of the word adore has blurred. When we say a mother adores her son, we do not mean that she prays to him. We mean that she has an excessive admiration for him, even though he's a waster and a liar. If I were to say that I adore cream cakes, I would not mean that I am filled with awe and reverence when I think of cream cakes. I'd be just admitting that I'm greedy. Whether we adore or pray to or worship, we must take care to remind ourselves yet again that the Spirit is God. When we adore or worship God, we do it to the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. One act of adoration or worship is directed to all three. We can also say that the Holy Spirit is glorified together with the Father and the Son. And I must say a word about glorifying, because it can sound like we're awarding a prize to God. Glory on its own isn't that complicated. In the Old Testament, it means physical brightness or brilliance. And it develops to mean the brilliance of God in a wider sense, always bringing with it a sense of wonder and awe. The word glorifying, in the sense it is being used here, we have to be sure it's not an award, but a recognition. Our act is not to give God a prize for being glorious. It is to recognize that He is glorious, and so to rejoice in His glory. Our act of glorification does nothing to God or for God, but it does something for us, because to recognize God's glory means to open one's eyes to it and to see it for what it is. The Creed is saying that when we recognize God's glory, we recognize the glory of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. This recognition may be sparked off by any one of the members of the Trinity. It may be the splendor of creation, pointing to the Father. It may be healing and love, the work of the Son. It may be the sheer joy of life, the work of the Holy Spirit. But the glory we rejoice in is always the glory of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The topic of the next talk is, I believe in the Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church.